get the job done and tie up the series at 1. Rangers beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-2, and whenever they've, had to battle adversity throughout the season, they've stepped up, and they did that in this game. And it wasn't pretty. And in a lot of ways, this game was similar to Game 1. The Pittsburgh Penguins have not led in this series at all for any time within the game. They, of course, scored the game-winning goal in the triple overtime in Game 1, but the Rangers have, been the team that has been leading in this series. Pittsburgh keeps on, climbing back and tying it up and making it close. But in this game, the Rangers were able to get the win. And some players that I thought underperformed in Game 1 stepped up in Game 2 in a major way. Artemi Panarin, and it was kind of a classic Panarin game. There were mistakes, but he also was a force, and he had a goal and 2 assists. Also, Frank Vatrano, who I thought was a bit invisible in Game 1. I questioned whether, his spot, on a top line was going to be permanent. Frank Vatrano, a goal and 2 assists. Of course, Igor does his thing. We've become accustomed to that. And, the Rangers are able to get it done. There were injuries that came from Game 1, some that we weren't aware of. So the one that we were aware of was Ryan Lindgren. Ryan Lindgren did not play this game. It seems like it's one of those things. I think it's definitely problematic, but I think it's something that he can play through. And I guess they just felt like he couldn't go tonight. But I think Ryan Lindgren will be back, hopefully effective. And so Justin Braun was in the lineup. But more of the concern, Barclay Goodrow did not play. And after the game, Glenn said week to week. I think in Game 1 he blocked a shot. I'm concerned it might be some sort of broken foot. Like, just speculation on my part, but I'm concerned. That's too bad because you bring in Barclay Goodrow for the playoffs. That had been spoken about, how he won 2 cups with the Lightning. He's a playoff type of performer, and he's going to be out. So, you bring in Sammy Blais, who won a cup. You bring in Barclay Goodrow. You bring in Tyler Mott even, and all of them are out. So we'll see. Maybe somehow Tyler Mott, maybe that timetable gets expedited with Goodrow out. But that is a pretty significant loss. I would not expect to see Goodrow back in the series. If you do, it would be more Game 6, Game 7. But honestly, I think when Gallant says week to week, it's not a great sign. So don't expect to see Goodrow back anytime soon. But as far as the game goes, the Penguins had their fair share of injuries as well. Louis Domingue, the third string goalie for the Penguins, was in there. And I thought that he did a good enough job. I know he gives up 5 goals. Maybe that last goal by the Rangers, the Vatrano goal, Domingue want to have back. But honestly, I think he did a pretty solid job. Brian Dumoulin was out for the Penguins. So in a somewhat similar situation to the Rangers with Lindgren, Dumoulin's a very important defensive for the Penguins, and he was out. Jason Zucker still not back from his injury. I think he'll be back soon. Carl Raquel was not in there. So both teams are dealing with some injuries. And in this one, the Rangers are able to get off to a good start. But there was an early penalty to Patrick Nemeth. I should say I was fortunate enough to be at Game 2 as well. So I was at Game 1, classic game, but upsetting sort of finish. Game 2, better luck. I was there. The crowd was electric. It was a fun night. But the crowd was pretty pissed off after the Patrick Nemeth cross-checking call. And for me, I don't know why Nemeth did it. But it was a bit of a weak call, although, to be fair, John Marino did the same thing in the second period, and they called it as well. So at least there was consistency. It was the same type of thing, same place on the ice, and they called it on both. So at least you have that. But I was of the belief, honestly, if Lindgren played, and if Lindgren comes back, I would keep Justin Braun in the lineup and have Patrick Nemeth sit. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible that Patrick Nemeth, Justin Braun, I thought, besides the Crosby goal, I thought Justin Braun acquitted himself pretty solidly. And so Nemeth could be the odd man out if Lindgren returns. I would not be shocked. But the Rangers the penalty kill does a great job. They kill off that penalty, and then they kill off their only other kill of the night later on. We'll get to that. But first, it's another goal for Andrew Kopp. Kopp scores his second of the series from Panarin and Braun at 6:50. This was a play where Braun makes a pass to a wide open Panarin on the side, and Panarin is able to kind of, he the head fakes, just he's so twitchy. You don't really know where he's going to go with it. And he finds an open cop who the shot deflects off Crosby's stick. And in between Matheson, who had a rough night, and Letang and past Domingue to make it 1-0. But Pittsburgh, as they did in game one, responds, and it's Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel scores his third goal of the series from Pettersson and Crosby. So the Rangers have had a very tough time with the Crosby line. If they can stop the Crosby line, the Rangers are in good shape, but they have not been able to do so. So Gensel ties it up, and that's a bit of a deflating goal. To make matters worse, Ryan Strome takes a delay game penalty at 16:35, but the Rangers penalty kill does a great job. So end of the first period, it's 1-1. We head to the second. And in the second, John Marino cross-checks Andrew Kopp at 1:05. And before the power play is out, it is a goal for Ryan Strome. A deflection off a shot by Adam Fox. Artemi Panarin with the other assist. So that's 2 assists for Panarin at that point. The goal is scored at 2:59 of the second. And the Rangers take a 2-1 lead. Then later in the period, it's a goal, second goal of the series for Chris Kreider. Chris Kreider, who I feel like has not really played that well. I think him and Zibanejad have been disappointments for me to this point in the series. Mika almost more so than Kreider in some ways, but Kreider, it's another deflection goal. Chris Kreider deflects the shot by Frank Vatrano, and Keandre Miller gets the other assist. So at 12:06, the Rangers take a 3-1 lead. And then Kasperi Kapanen holds Artemi Panarin. So the Rangers had a chance to make it 4-1. And that's a really good chance of the power play, but weren't able to do so. And then Pittsburgh strikes back. Just an unbelievable individual effort by Sidney Crosby as he makes moves around Braun. Jacob Trouba was on the ice there as well. And speaking of Trouba, it was an improvement tonight. I still don't love Trouba's game. I think there's a lot more to be had there, but it's all right. And so Crosby scores from Rust and Matheson, and it makes it 3-2. So I was concerned at this point. That was a big goal for Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh gets off to a really good start in the third period, a really, really good start. But Shesterkin is up to the challenge, makes really key saves. One on Malkin stands out for me. And then at 8:02 of the third, what was a really big goal, it's Artemi Panarin, his third point of the night. He gets the goal assisted by Vatrano. So that's 2 assists for Vatrano, and then Keandre Miller with an assist. That's 2 assists for Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller, who I thought was a little bit shaky in game one. I thought he was really good in game two. Keandre Miller is just blossoming before our eyes. This is someone who might end up being one of the better defensemen in the NHL. He has all the raw abilities and tools to be that. And I thought Keandre Miller was really good. I like the young defenseman. It's getting better. I mean, I think Adam Fox, who I was hard on for the end of the regular, for a large portion of the second half of the season, I think Adam Fox in these 2 games has looked healthy, fresh, and really good, as well as Keandre Miller. And so Panarin, that's the goal that he scores off of Mike Matheson. He throws it in front of the net, and that's why sometimes it's beneficial to do that. Give it a chance. Throw it in front of the net and see what happens. And it goes in off Matheson. The Rangers take a 4-2 lead. And then soon thereafter, it's the dagger by Frank Vatrano. Frank Vatrano moving in on the right side, snaps a wrist shot and in, assist to Braden Schneider. And so Vatrano, that's 3 points for him. A really good game for Frank, who has responded. And so those trade deadline acquisitions, Kopp, 2 goals in the series, 1 tonight. Vatrano, 3 points tonight. Justin Braun comes in and does a good job. So those trade deadline acquisitions really making an impact. Then things get a little bit chippy. Brock McGinn and Philip Hedl get sent off for slashing and cross-checking. And then at 17:56, Jeff Carter is called for goalie interference on Igor Shesterkin. And this leads to a Ranger power play. And Shesterkin was down, and I think both are a little bit to blame. I mean, Igor, we know that Igor can be a bit dramatic. And sometimes he has actually been hurt, but sometimes not so much. So Igor, in this case, he ends up being fine as far as we can tell. But Igor definitely, he can, that's what I'll put it. A bit dramatic sometimes when it comes to the contact. But luckily he's okay. And Carter would get a penalty. Rangers get a power play. Evan Rodriguez takes another penalty at 19:30. But the Rangers at that point, they had their 4th line on for the power play. It was over. Then really you want to have Reeves out there to police things and make sure nothing gets out of hand. And speaking of Reeves, I thought Ryan Reeves, played another effective game, I have to say. And he's someone also I've been skeptical of, but you know what? He's been pretty good so far. So Dryden Hunt filled in for Goodrow in that 4th line. So we're gonna see that again. Hunt, Rooney, Reeves. It kind of did what it had to do. It really did. And so the Rangers win it 5-2. And this was a game which saw a lot of shots on goal again. 41-40 Penguins shots on goals. So I think both teams would like to tighten up the defense. Special teams works in the Rangers' favor tonight. And I think that this will be a series that goes long. I don't think this ends in 5. I don't think either of these teams wins 3 straight. I don't believe that. So I think this is going 6 or 7. From a Ranger perspective, I really think the goal here is to split the 2 games in Pittsburgh. Look, if you want to get greedy, of course you want them both, but you tell me that you can get this back to game 5, 2-2, I'll sign up for that. So the Rangers got to find a way to go to Pittsburgh, steal game 3 or 4, get home ice advantage back, and we go from there. I really still do believe the Rangers are the better team. There's inexperience, and hopefully as the series goes on, they can learn some things. And so game 1, I think that was a game that they wish that they could have had back. It didn't work in their favor, but they were able to dust it off, move on, and win this game, and that shows a lot. Mentally tough. So I think Pittsburgh, the fans in Pittsburgh, they'll be ready to go. It won't be easy. I think that, I still believe that home ice, it does play a factor. I think that Pittsburgh's going to be a tough team in Pitt. So I think the Rangers, the hope there, like I said, is to get out of there with a win and, be squared at 2 in what will become then a best of 3, knowing that you have the home ice at MSG for a game 7 if it gets to that point. So this is shaping up to be a very exciting series, a big win. You hate to say must win, but this was close, and the Rangers were able to get it done, and that's really big. So, Igor continues to do his thing. Big nights for Panarin and Vatrano in particular. And so we move on. And this series will now shift to Pittsburgh with it all tied up at 1 as we head to game 3.